being pursued by LAPD in the Highland Park area. He has come to a stop in a residential neighborhood. The tires were, I believe the front tires were gone. He was riding on rims. We don't know if that was because of a spike strip or some other reason, but there were sparks flying from the car. The car started smoking. The driver stopped, and everybody presumed the car was disabled or unable to proceed. And then about 5 minutes ago, he continued and started to proceed again. Then he stopped, and then he proceeded again, to the point where now he is on Piedmont Avenue and Sumter Drive in Highland Park. On one side of the road is a city park, and on the other side are residential streets. It's Highland Park Recreation Center. He's right near what looks like the baseball diamond there. And on the other side, residential houses. And our understanding from the LA Police Department is that the registered owner of this vehicle lives not far from here. The car is registered to an address that is not far from where it is right now. If this is the person who owns the car, who's been trying to get home, we don't know, but it is a coincidence. And every now and then we are seeing the person gesture out of the car, gesture out of the window there, which you just saw, the driver's side window halfway down. A couple of times he stuck his arm out. If he has a gun, we have not seen it yet. But what is that? Is there something in his hand? It's hard to tell. But you can imagine the LA Police Department officers who are behind and are in a defensive position with guns drawn are very cognizant of what the risk is here. This is a report of a man with a gun. That's how this initially came across. And then the pursuit ensued into the Highland Park area. I'm going to try to look at my notes here, find out a little bit more about what has happened here. But as far as we know, just one occupant in the car, and the Northeast Division of the LAPD was involved in this initially. And so it was, it was on York Avenue, Avenue 54, the numbered avenues up there. There's a possibility. I don't want to report on anything that we can't confirm yet, but it is a Toyota Camry that we know about. It's gone on York Boulevard, Figueroa, so kind of been circling the Highland Park area. And there was some damage to the vehicle. We don't know if that was as a result of the pursuit. The suspect is holding something in his hand. We don't know where the gun part of this came from, where the actual report or the knowledge or belief about a weapon. I don't know yet where that came from. We're going to try to find that out. But he does have something in his hand. We've seen that repeatedly. And we're trying to find out more about whether that involves a weapon or something else, possibly narcotics. Reports from people who are listening in that the vehicle may have narcotics inside. We don't know about a gun yet. And hopefully we don't find out from something visual that there is a gun here, because that would be bad news. If we can see it, the police can see it, and there might end up being gunplay involved here. We are all hoping that doesn't happen. What the optimum outcome here would be for the suspect to give up and for this all to end peacefully without any exchange of gunfire at all. So what you see here, he's moving around a lot, moving around erratically in the front seat. As far as we know, there's only one person in the car, and it stopped. Now, we all presumed because of the smoke that was involved was that the car was disabled. It's not smoking anymore, and it clearly, if it was disabled, it's not completely disabled because the driver was able to move it about a quarter of a mile, maybe a little less, each time that he has opted to continue moving. And then we have these long situations here where the driver is sitting there while the police are behind him. We can be assured that they are ordering him to get out of the vehicle. He's ignoring their orders to do that. More smoke coming out, but that could be a vape. That seemed to be something a little less out of control and more like the smoke you would see from someone who's actually smoking something. Again, a lot of movement. It's very dark. A lot of movement. This again is Piedmont Avenue and Sumter Drive, a park on one side and residential homes on the other. So if you are in this area, if you're on Piedmont Avenue, please stay in your homes. Don't come out. This could be a very dangerous and volatile situation. Piedmont Avenue, Sumter Drive, Highland Park. Please avoid the area, and if you live in the area, please stay inside your homes and get your updates from us, because and also lock your doors. Make sure everything's locked in case this person decides to make a run for it on foot, tries to get into one of these homes to hide out. You don't want that either. And again, the vehicle is now not smoking, but perhaps the suspect is. Looks like he may have dropped something off the side of the vehicle. I'm watching this with all of you and trying to find out more information about what we're looking at here. As far as we know, just one person in the car being pursued by the LA Police Department. We don't know if other agencies are involved. We are hearing, though, that there may have been a woman in the front seat of the vehicle at one point who got out earlier. I'm going to try to gather more details on that, but it appears that there may have been someone with the driver at one point who bailed out. The disposition of that person is not clear to us, but that is something we're going to try to get more details from the police department about what's happening here. You see on the bottom of the screen officers that are stationed somewhere on a street there. I got to get that street and see what they are doing. You see officers on foot that are with their flashlights gesturing for people to either move along or change direction, trying to close all this down. This is the Highland Park Recreation Center up there on the left part of your screen. To the right, in that very dark portion of the screen, those are homes. And so the suspect now, excuse me, parked on that street, not moving, but apparently not moving by choice, because the vehicle is, or has been at least, drivable. There was a lot of smoke coming out of it about 15 minutes ago. That has stopped. We don't know if it's got, I think it doesn't have any front tires, but that hasn't stopped this suspect from making some moves and trying to get that vehicle moving. We don't know why he stopped now and why he's not giving up. He's refusing to comply. But again, this is a report at least, or the probability of a suspect with a gun. The belief is that there's a weapon in that vehicle with the suspect, and that's why there is such an abundance of caution that you see from the LAPD officers that are behind him. We have not seen a weapon yet. Doesn't mean there isn't one, certainly. We have seen his hand going out the window, and there's been something in it, but we don't know what it is. The dynamic possibly having changed a bit here because the initial belief I think we all had, including possibly the officers behind him, was that the vehicle wasn't drivable. So that may have affected how they were stationing themselves behind it. Now they're having to be presumably a little bit more nimble in case he decides to take off again, because he apparently at least has demonstrated that he has that capability. The window's going up. Driver's side window going up. It was halfway down, now it's up. As far as we know, no shots have been fired at any point. It's good news for everybody involved in this. Apparently the suspect is right in front of the address to which the car is registered, right in front of the address. And he continues to gesture. You see the hand coming out. Now it looks like the rear window of this car. So is he leaning back and gesturing out the window? That's what it appears. But you see one hand, and again, I can't tell from here whether something's in his hand. If it is, it's small. But we're all kind of watching this together and trying to figure out what this guy's motive is, what his intention is, whether or when he's going to give up. At some point, he's going to have to. The police certainly aren't going to let him get into the residence to which this car is registered. If he makes a move out of that car, he's going to get immediately arrested. The hope is that that happens peacefully. You can bet that right now they're asking him to, or ordering him rather, to take the keys out of the ignition, drop them on the street, open the door, get out, and lay down spread-eagled on the ground, something we have all seen over these many, many decades now of pursuits that have been televised here in Southern California. When they want the suspect, when they get the suspect in a position to give up, they give specific demands, and that is there's a purpose for that, of course. It's to minimize the threat toward the officers and basically keep everyone safe, including the suspect. You don't want him making any sudden moves toward his waistband or anything that might indicate he's about to draw a weapon, because that will draw gunfire from those officers. They don't want that. They don't want anybody firing any shots or looking like they're going to fire any shots. So they would want him to keep his hands in the air, walk backwards towards them, lay down on the pavement spread-eagled so that there's no way he can reach for anything. That is what they're asking him to do. He's not doing it. And as a result, we have this standoff that may become a pursuit again for a short block. We don't know. But since he's parked in front of what apparently is his address, that this may be it in terms of the pursuit portion of the proceedings. Now, it's a question of whether the standoff will continue and for how long. Again, gesturing out the right rear driver's side window. And as this drags on, the question becomes, is this a substance abuse issue? Is this a mental health issue that is causing this behavior, or is there something else? The advantage, though, does go to the officers at this point. There are more of them. They have a helicopter up above. They have tactical training. They have people in positions where this driver doesn't even know they are. And they are all geared toward bringing this person to heel safely and without firing a shot or anybody getting hurt. It's a question at this point, though, of when or if this driver will give up. Some people are content to sit in their car for hours if they can. We don't know how long they're going to allow that, if they're going to call in any kind of other unit to make more of an extrication, because at some point it becomes a barricade situation, which is kind of what this is starting to be. He's basically barricaded inside his car. Piedmont Avenue and Sumter Drive in Highland Park. Pretty large homes in this area. And we don't know the exact address to which this car is registered. We wouldn't give it out anyway, even if we did. But he is apparently very close, or directly in front of, rather, the house where this car is registered. But again, the police are not going to let him get in. To the, what I guess would be the east of here is Figueroa Street. That was the street that the other police officers were on, where they had their vehicles parked and they were stopping and they were trying to gesture and get people to get off the street. They have to prepare for the possibility of gunfire, which means they've got to get everybody out of the immediate vicinity. And if you're living in this neighborhood, I can only imagine what you're dealing with at this point, because you've got the noise of the police helicopter, you've got the noise of the news helicopters, and you've got the radio or loudspeaker announcements or admonitions from these officers to give yourself up. You can bet they're repeating that so far to no avail, but the whole effort here is to try to persuade this person and order this person to give up. Again, a pursuit involving a report of a man with a gun, and it has circled Highland Park at various points. We don't know if a collision was involved here. We do know there was some front-end damage to the vehicle, damage that's bad enough that at least one of the front tires went flat and then started sparking. We don't know if that was from a spike strip or if that was from a collision or from some other cause. This is an older Toyota Camry that apparently had two people inside, at least at the initial part of the pursuit, and then the woman passenger reportedly got out of the vehicle at some point earlier on in the pursuit, leaving only the driver. Now you see the front driver's side window that is down a little bit, and the driver sticking his hand out the window. Doesn't look like there's a weapon there. Hard to tell, but the hand takes a certain shape if it's holding a gun. It doesn't seem to have that shape. It appears to be a fist, actually. This guy's been moving around pretty much constantly since he has stopped, and he stopped several times. And apparently at one point during this pursuit, he was driving erratically and got close enough to pursuing officers that they're going to add assault with a deadly weapon to the litany of charges this person will face. The deadly weapon being the vehicle itself, the assault being the proximity to police. Nobody's making a move toward this vehicle. Again, the report or the assumption is that there's a weapon in that car. So there are decisions being made and discussions being held about what to do about this. Do they call in a SWAT unit to deal with this? Do they wait the person out? Is there an effort to call them on the phone, on the cell phone, and see if they can get a hold of them that way? All sorts of tactics being considered, and something will be employed at some point, because you can't just leave them in the car. So this will, in the mind and in the purpose of the Los Angeles Police Department, this will end in an apprehension, hopefully without incident. And the street you're looking at here, this is Piedmont Avenue, 6100th block of Piedmont Avenue, approaching Figueroa Street. It basically intersects with Figueroa about, I don't know, about 50 yards or so down the street. That's Figueroa down there to the left of the screen. And in the middle, you see the park, Highland Park Recreation Center. It would be presumably empty at this hour of the night, so not much danger there. But people who are living in this area on Piedmont Avenue near Figueroa in Highland Park and Sumter Drive and areas right around there within a block or two should stay in their homes, should not go outside. This is a report of a man with a gun inside that car, and until they can confirm that either that he doesn't, or until they can get him under arrest, you should prepare or be cognizant of the possibility that there could be gunfire. And because of that, there's an immense amount of caution being employed by the Los Angeles Police Department. These are officers from the Northeast Station that encompasses Highland Park. And the idea is to keep everybody safe here until something ends up happening where this person gives up. I think the stop-start nature of this pursuit is over because he is pretty much directly in front of the address where the vehicle is registered and where presumably the driver lives. This is video from earlier of that pursuit underway. This was after a standoff had already happened, and then he took off. Again, this car had been smoking pretty heavily. Then it stopped smoking, and the driver took off. Went for a few blocks, and then stopped again. That was Avenue 61 and Terrace Drive. He made a couple of turns, ended up on Piedmont Avenue, where the car no longer was smoking, but as I mentioned before, it appeared that the suspect might be smoking something inside the vehicle. A lot of erratic movement, and then a few puffs of smoke coming from just the driver's side window. And it had the look of someone smoking or vaping inside the vehicle, and not that the vehicle itself was the source of the smoke. And what you're looking at here on the right is video from earlier, where where the car came to a stop. You see a little smoke there coming from the right front tire, that portion under the hood there. And that's where we find ourselves now. It's been that way now for about, last 20, 25 minutes, I guess. And periodically, or at least initially, we saw a couple of puffs of smoke where it appeared the driver is smoking or vaping something from the front driver's seat. The driver's side window has gone up and down a few times. The rear window has been down pretty much the entire time. And every now and then we see the driver gesturing out the window. No gun. We have not seen a gun. We have not seen a weapon. And it certainly doesn't mean there isn't one. But the times that we have seen the driver's hand gesturing out the window, it appeared to either be empty or that he was holding something that was not in the shape of a handgun. And again, that's video from earlier. This is where it came to a stop, and that's where we find ourselves now. The smoke that you see in the video there from earlier is not evident now. No smoke happening at this point. So there he is, rear window open, front driver's side window cracked, about 2 or 3 inches down. And every now and then you see a hand coming out one of those windows that is, as far as I can tell, either empty or clutching something that doesn't have the shape, at least, of a weapon. Police behind the vehicle now, and have been since the standoff began, in a position to use deadly force if necessary. We don't know if there are beanbag rounds or other less than lethal or non-lethal weaponry that is arrayed behind this driver that can be employed initially, but they are taking every precaution. They don't want any bullets flying anywhere. It could go into a house. It could go into an innocent bystander could be hit by that, and they certainly don't want that. So it's far safer for everyone to wait, come up with some sort of a tactic that might cause this person to give up, and look at what their other options are that will hopefully not agitate him if in fact there is a weapon in there, and we don't know for sure. Again, you see movement inside. Is he lighting something? Is he trying to smoke again? We don't know. The police department helicopter has not been keeping its night sun trained on this car throughout the entirety. You're seeing it goes on and then it goes off. It's on him and then it moves away. Maybe that's purposeful. Maybe that is an effort not to agitate him. But they could definitely light this thing up a lot with greater illumination than they have. And we don't know whether it's by choice or necessity that they're not. And the belief is, the latest reporting we're getting from our assignment desk, having spoken with sources within the police department, is that they do in fact believe this person is armed. And because of that, nobody's going to be rushing that vehicle. Nobody's going to be going to try to pull him out, at least at this point. They are waiting for him to get out. It's a standoff. It is basically a barricade situation, except instead of being inside a home or a business, he's in a car. He is basically essentially barricaded inside that car. And the belief of the department officers is that he does in fact have a weapon. This is not one of those situations where they have to act as if they have to act and presume that somebody has one when there's no evidence of that. Apparently there is a strong belief that he does in fact have a weapon in that vehicle with him, and so that is really affecting how everybody within law enforcement proceeds with this incident. Again, this is in Highland Park, Piedmont Avenue and Sumter Drive. On one side you have the Highland Park Recreation Center. On the other side you have homes, one of which apparently belongs to this suspect. In a pursuit that wound through Highland Park, much of the northeast area of the LAPD's area of operations, York Boulevard being one of the streets that he crisscrossed a few times. At some point, the car became in some way, at least partially disabled, meaning that the front, at least one of the front tires was flattened, ended up shredding, disintegrating, and the car was riding on the rims. The rims were sparking quite a bit. That caused some sort of ignition to the point where the car really began to smoke. The driver stopped, waited for a while. The smoke abated somewhat, and then the driver took off again, and then stopped, and took off again, and now has stopped here at the corner, or right around Piedmont Avenue, just past Sumter Drive in Highland Park. And that's where we sit right now. Suspect very close to where the car is registered. We don't know of anybody having been hurt here. But we are getting reports that there was someone else in the vehicle with him, a woman, a female, who earlier on in the pursuit got out of the vehicle while the driver then took off. We do not know her condition or disposition at this time, whether she is a fellow suspect or a victim in this. What we do know, what we have observed, is that there has been some smoke coming from the vehicle that appears to be from the suspect himself, either vaping or smoking something. Periodic gesturing out the window, but beyond that, no movement. And certainly no surrender. The LAPD is stationed behind him. We're going to keep an eye on this. I'm going to take a quick break, and we will be giving you full coverage of this on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC 7. Video you see here from earlier, that's a good look at that suspect in that video, wearing a black shirt, apparently shaved head, and that person still inside the vehicle, not giving up. We will have more coverage in about 33 minutes on ABC 7. I'm Mark Brown.